Are we ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Did you hurt yourself clapping?
That was a really hard clap.
Oh, good for you.
Feel free to put that in the bloopers.
That's going to start the episode. Hello. Welcome to Double Jump Gaming News. That's not the title of the podcast. Welcome to Save Room, the premier podcast by Double Jump Gaming News about video games and topics therein. I'm your host, Carter Welshly. Joining me today, this time, the Fab Four of my co-hosts.
Nate.
Copen.
Steven.
Andre.
Welcome, Andre, to the podcast.
Woo!
Is it Andre or Andrew?
It's Andre.
I definitely called you Andrew yesterday. I'm very sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
Welcome, Andre, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Today, we have a very special Halloween episode. But before we dive in, boys, what have we been playing lately? Andre, let's start with you.
Okay.
I have
Since
been.
you're new.
Yeah, no, I've been playing Pokemon Black 2 again for like the first time in a good couple of years.
I've actually been playing Pokemon White for the first time. It's actually really fun.
Yeah, no, it's really fun.
I replayed Pokemon Black over the summer. So,
Really? Oh my god.
We're
that's so
all
funny.
in Unova over here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Zolos's best Pokemon.
I have recently dived into the Evil Within once again to prepare for today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All educated.
I've been playing Dead Space because it's the free game for this month, so I've been enjoying that.
I really haven't been playing anything new, but I'm about to. I found this game called Shashingo, I think it's pronounced, online. It's a weird like walking simulator or slash photography simulator or in a city where it teaches you Japanese, and I thought that concept was interesting enough to buy it.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar boat. I haven't started playing it yet. I'm about to, because today is the launch day of the new Mario Party.
Oh my
So
god!
yeah.
I
forgot
pre-ordered
about
it
that.
and it's getting delivered in the mail today. So once we're done with the record, I'm going to go home and open up my mailbox and spend time that I should be using on homework to play Mario Party.
Totally fair.
Yeah. Anyway, today we get a little spooky. We get a little scary. We're doing a little Halloween episode.
I thought you were gonna say skeletons.
We get a little skeletons. We're doing a little Halloween episode for you because it's that time of the year. We've got a list of 5 monsters that are going to square off in a round robin in the ring in a no-holds-barred death battle-esque showdown.
Oh shoot! We were supposed to do this in a ring. I'm not sure if my guy's gonna fit in the ring.
It's more of a theater of the mind thing than any actual location.
It's a large ring.
It's a very large ring.
Very large indeed.
It's not only theater of the mind. This is how we're editing this, right?
Yeah. We have each selected a monster, and we're going to go head-to-head against each other to see which video game monster is the king of them all.
So I wanted to pick something from Monster Hunter, but I really didn't know what because I'm still fairly new to the franchise. So after conversing with some of my friends to find some like Halloween or like spooky monsters that could fit this, I ended up going with a Nursilla. It is a giant spider monster that on average is about 8 meters tall, around 26 feet. You can see why I would fear it not fitting in the ring. So its powers, it's not very strong for a Monster Hunter monster, but it's very agile and it's incredibly smart. Its claws can induce paralysis and sleep. Its fangs can inflict poison. It can produce webs at a frankly astonishing rate. And it has the ability to adapt to any environment by literally using the discarded skins and corpses of monsters to basically give itself resistances to different elements. For example, I'm specifically throwing a shrouded Nursilla in the ring, so it is currently being covered by a Kezu, which covers its thunder weakness.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
its strength is that it's really, really fast to the point where some hunters that don't see it like web things in the sky see it's like jumping off of air. Basically, I went for like average height, and we're going to assume that it's using like the most common skin for the shrouded Nursilla, which is a Kezu. So it covers its lightning weakness, but it's still weak to fire and ice attacks. But weaknesses and strengths in Monster Hunter are just like you do slightly more or slightly less damage, so it's less pronounced.
Thank you, Nate, and welcome Nursilla to the ring. I'll go next since I'm next up on our list. I'm kicking it old school. I've brought Dracula from Castlevania to the ring. Coming in at 8 feet tall, Dracula is not only a vampire, he is the Dark Lord of the undead army. He is a sorcerer. He's a shapeshifter. He's just a old man or a skeleton or like a hot uncle, depending on the game.
Doesn't he also turn into a demon sometimes?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Jack
he's
of all
whatever.
trades.
He's whatever Konami thinks is coolest
And despite-
at that point in time.
And despite all of that, still had a kid.
Despite all of that, still at a kid. Yeah, I can go into more detail about his powers, but I'm going to keep my cards a little closer to my chest for once we enter the ring. What you should know is that Dracula can only be damaged through his head or through a sacred weapon to the chest. But he can be weakened by just sort of general vampire protocol.
So I was looking through the Baker family from Resident Evil 7, trying to decide which one I should choose, and I think I landed on Jack. He has super strength and regenerative healing that he has from the mold, as they call it in the game, which basically makes him super strong, and he can regenerate. He does have some weaknesses. He can be stopped for a short time just through like blunt damage or weapons, but he can regenerate. It just might take some time, and dismemberment is another way, but that won't stop him completely as well, because in the DLC he does come back even after being chopped in half.
All right, as for myself, I've picked Ruvik, the Evil Within antagonist. His main powers are manifestation. He can manifest himself into reality that allows him to access his powers. He has teleportation, which functions similar to super speed. He has ability of omniscience, that within the STEM system that he uses for his powers, he can see everything that's going on and invade people's minds depending on their willpower. He has also Hive Mind, which he's able to control anyone that enters the STEM system, as well as turning them into monsters. His basic abilities is that he has superhuman speed and strength. He has invulnerability to most physical assaults and attacks, teleportation, and he can manipulate the laws of reality. Basic weaknesses are that despite the STEM system being what gives him his power, it's also his weakness for if a strong-willed individual, which is another weakness he has, gets to his brain that serves as the core and breaks the core, he's essentially dead and gone. He's also weak to fire due to a psychological trauma.
Oh.
Well, compared to all these gods and like super enhanced human beings, I chose Enderman from Minecraft. So I've written down for powers, he can teleport. He's got strength. I don't know how correct my calculations are, but apparently 1 meter block of dirt is 1.2 pounds. So that's his minimum carrying weight. He can attack from 2 meters away. His strengths are frequent teleportation and immunity to most projectile weapons, which gives him an advantage over ranged attackers. And for the weaknesses, I have water and boats. So if anyone owns a pontoon or maybe a rowboat and trap him in there, it's probably game over for him.
Then again, most mobs in Minecraft are weak to that.
That is true. It's like the ultimate weapon.
Mhm.
Another thing to note is he doesn't really have durability or armor, as you can just punch him and it will still hurt him, given it's not as much as like a sword, but he doesn't really have any armor or anything.
And from what I know, Endermen are very like passive, so we'll just assume that when an Enderman, another person gets in the ring, they just stared at him for too long.
Yeah,
Mhm.
make him angry right off the bat.
Absolutely. All right. We have now met our combatants, and it is time to enter the ring. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to pick 2 monsters, throw them at each other. We'll talk about it, come to some sort of agreement or disagreement on who the winner of that is, and then move on to the next monster. By the end of this episode, we're all going to have gone up against everybody else. We're all going to have talked about it, and we will determine which of these 5 is the greatest gaming monster in the Monster Mash.
Mhm.
Prior to the record, Nate won the coin flip
Mhm.
and will be going first. So Nate's going to be starting with all 5.
All 5. Okay.
We're just gonna go around.
Okay. So
I don't know who wants to go first. Personally, I would love to nominate Enderman.
Oh,
yeah,
Put him
Of
in the
being
ring.
the first
the
Put him in
two
the
opponent.
weakest
ring.
go first.
It's like it's like the lion versus Pokemon, but instead of like 9 billion of them, there's only one guy.
Mhm.
Like
It's okay. So I will give Enderman this. It can't get hit by Nersilla's webs because of the whole ranged attack immunity.
Mhm.
However, how would paralysis affect teleportation?
Ooh, that's an interesting thing.
Is his teleportation more mental or is it physical? That's the
I
big
think it's
deciding factor.
physical, and like the Enderman still can get affected by status conditions, but
Mhm.
they can't get affected by like the potions thrown at them that inflict them.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
So
Mm.
so it's more like if you use like the lingering potion.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think that like I think that it would be hard. It's like yes, you can dodge the webs that are going to bind you, but also that there is a giant 8-foot spider that is basically Spider-Man-ing around the ring and and like immediately dashing at you.
Yeah, and like speaking of spiders, like one of Enderman's advantages was his like longer reach, but the spider has way more like gangly legs, so I don't even know what their like attack range
Mhm.
would be, but it'd probably be a lot more of an
Essentially, can an Enderman conjure fire or ice?
Enderman. It cannot.
All right, cool. I think Nersilla wins this, but I don't think.
I'm putting my vote in for Nersilla as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I don't think it's gonna win much else because we have 3 supernatural beings versus like one like it's literally just a guy. Or
I don't know. You are 26 feet tall.
Yes.
Fair,
I think
honestly.
that's an underrated factor.
All right, I got a little pen and pad. I'll just do tally marks here.
Cool.
Colton, thank you for keeping score.
With
All right.
1 win.
All right. All right. So who wants to go up against the 26-foot tall spider next?
I'll throw Dracula's hat into the ring.
His cape into the ring.
I'll throw his cape into the ring. I'll throw his bat into the ring.
I will say because I remember at the very least in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and also maybe in the NES game, he does have power over pyromancy, so I think Nersilla might be screwed here.
That is true. He has multiple fire spells.
Mhm. Correct me if I'm wrong, other Monster Hunter people, but like weaknesses in Monster Hunter aren't like egregious. It's just like, oh, you do slightly more damage.
It is, yeah, and I think status conditions are more like likely to happen if you don't have the right element against it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I will say you are basically slightly better at the war of attrition against Nersilla.
I think really what it is, it's a game. How long does paralysis from Nersilla last?
It's basically the same as any other monster, and I don't remember how long. I think it's like it's like 10 or 20 seconds unless you like mash the controller.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you dodge
the way it
roll.
works is that it's roughly around 10 to 20 seconds. You're paralyzed on the ground, unable to move unless your pal smacks you or you have an item that wards against paralysis.
I
So
think
if in case you get paralysis, consider you getting stunned for about 10 to 20 seconds.
And he does have poison. And I mean, I will say because I'm specifically using Shroud in Nersilla, he can't cover the fire weakness. But I mean, hey, there's probably a discarded Magnalama skin. I forget that monster's name, but there's probably a discarded skin somewhere.
I think it's really a game of can Dracula outmaneuver Nersilla long enough to get chip damage on fire to take him out.
I will admit, both of them are very fast. Like,
Mhm.
and specifically, Nersilla has a lot of good air movement, but only if it can like latch onto something with its webs.
Mm.
So I think it's really, really close. I think Dracula just barely wins this.
I have to agree. Like by a hair,
Mhm.
Dracula just manages to endure longer.
But he is going to feel all the effect of the poison for like a couple times.
Yeah, that's true. Dracula needs to take a bye before the next fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say if we can't come to an agreement, we could turn it to the rest of us and just have like a majority vote.
I kind of assumed that you guys were voting
Yeah.
already.
Well,
I
my
really
vote
don't-
goes to Dracula because, as someone who has played the Monster Hunter games, Dracula's mobility far outpaces that of Nersilla's.
Fair, honestly.
And also it really helps that Dracula is also able to shapeshift.
Yeah.
What you say that Dracula was only able to be hurt by like holy weapons? Was it?
He is only able to be like. Oh, I don't actually like that because it feels like
Yeah, it's got, like,
cheating
a
on the
technicality
playground.
to it.
he's
Like, oh, I actually can't be defeated. I'm like,
no, he's
Well, I
able
mean,
to
We'll say,
sunlight.
hurt
Sunlight
by
could
things.
Yeah,
hurt.
yeah,
It's
he's-
just what
he's
does
able to
the
be
significant
defeated.
damage.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
But like,
He's
we're
able,
in a ring. We can tap out.
He-
He
he's
can
gonna-
tap out.
1, 2, 3.
He can run away and lick his
Is the
wounds.
spider sentient enough to tap out?
no.
I don't
It's-
know.
The spider thinks of two things: breeding, eating, burning.
That's
that-
3 things.
That's three.
Yeah, whoops.
So yeah, I do think just barely Dracula wins. This.
Yeah, I think Dracula takes it as well.
All right.
Who's next?
Who's up next?
I guess that's me. Although mine's an interesting character. I will have to say that because you have the ability to breathe fire, that does put my character at a disadvantage. My weakness of fire is a psychological fear for my character
Mhm.
because his house burned down as a child.
Mhm.
That's also partly what helped to make him become a psychopath, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
So to briefly explain my abilities, there's a thing in the game called the STEM system, which is all like a mental thing that also warps with reality.
Mhm.
My entire body is in the STEM system.
Mhm.
So I'm both corporeal and non-corporeal. But the fear of fire is enough to make me flee from the scene and psychologically hurt me. I do also have a thing where I can summon a hive mind
Mhm.
of people who were caught in STEM as like monsters of various sizes and degrees.
Mhm.
But if we're excluding like outside help, realistically speaking, in a one-on-one situation, the weakness of fire and how deeply it affects my character is enough to withdraw it. But the problem is that
don't
is your
thi-
character smart enough to go ahead and find my tiny little brain in a jar?
I'm gonna argue that it's not that because it's like a creature or like an animal, or because like Monster Hunter, because the monsters in this game are basically like wild animals essentially. If I'm gonna say if Nursilla is like I'm not gonna say non-conscious, like non-sentience.
That's the other thing too. Is like not human because the way the whole
Mhm.
STEM system works is it sends frequencies that attach to human brain waves.
Yep.
So even the way I'm also helpless in general.
So basically, Nursilla can't find your brain in a jar, but also you can't control Nursilla. So I think this is a weird one where I think it might actually be a draw.
So, can I ask a question as a
Yes.
third-party observer?
Yes.
What happens if Ruvik's like body is destroyed? What happens if the corporeal form is
So
destroyed?
the corporeal form, it's kind of just resets. The way the STEM system works is think of it as like one giant mental storage / playground that for some reason is highly tuned to psychopaths. So it's basically one giant playground. If his corporeal form is destroyed, the system pulls him back and he's kind of like in the system for a time period, unable to do anything. Almost like he's unconscious.
Okay, so
So he's counted out of the ring.
he's counted out of the ring.
He's getting a 10 count.
Can the STEM system like
Spit him back out in 10
generate another one
In
before
10
the count
seconds.
to 10?
Before the count to
Is
10,
the real question.
I don't think so, but I'm
Okay.
not
Yeah.
100% sure because the STEM system is really weird. It took about like 4 games to fully understand how it works.
Fair.
But what it basically is just right now his entire body, his life and whatnot exists in a brain. That's it. He's just a brain in a jar. His body was completely ripped apart, so the brain serves as the core to the machine. But the
Mhm.
machine is obviously a machine and has limitations. So
Yeah.
if his corporeal body gets destroyed, then it'll
Mhm.
take some time for the machine to boot it back up, so to speak.
Yeah.
Make sense?
I do think that it's like I'm not gonna necessarily call it a draw, but we are. But it's like a weird fight because your character can't control mine. I don't think mine is smart enough up to find the brain in the jar.
Yeah.
So I think we're at a standstill. We might need the others to vote on
By
this.
technicality, if it's a ring out we're talking about, I would lose.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying
I'm-
that if we're making this kind of like funny, like they are in a ring, then yeah, like would it be a 3 count pin or a tap out or getting counted out?
Mhm.
I think on a technicality, I would say via count out, I would say hope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for Nursilla just based on the fact, like, if the physical form ain't there and he needs respawn time, I think that the fight is over.
Well, the way it also works is that it also works only on humans. But on humans, he's got a quote unquote immortal body.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Wait,
It's-
okay,
so-
hang on. So he's not immortal to non-humans.
because the way it works is that he's kind of messing with their minds, so to speak.
Is he
He's
like a
controlling their
Kamino?
minds to do what he wants them to do.
Oh, it's
Which-
like he's
which-
like telepathically making them think that he's immortal.
Yeah,
Yes.
something similar like
So
that.
because it doesn't work
Yeah,
on
because
Nursilla,
it doesn't
which is a
work.
giant spider,
Yeah,
he is able to actually defeat what's his name? Ruvik?
Ruvik.
Ruvik, yes.
Yeah, I'm voting for Nursilla.
Yeah,
on this
Nursilla
one.
wins this one,
it's just
unfortunately.
technicalities.
I think Nursilla barely wins it if he can find the brain.
If there was a brain, yes, but no.
All right. So,
Right now, you got to fight against
All
the
right,
psychopathic family of the Bakers.
oh boy. So is
Or-
it the entire family or is it just
I,
one?
I just settled on Jack because I don't know. I didn't know how fair or how dirty we were fighting, and I guess
Mhm.
we were picking a singular, so I really didn't think 5 would be fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
a giant 22-foot tall spider doesn't seem fair either, but
I didn't quite. I didn't know what it was going to be up against here. I guess I should have looked last night. From what I've heard so far, is that this would almost be a pretty clear loss for Jack, just because Jack is so slow. Because he is just a guy.
Mhm.
He's like, I looked it up, and he is 6'2". He's probably like 250.
Mhm.
But he just lumbers around. Even though he has regenerative healing, it does take time. And if we're going by the ring standard, if he's down for the 10 count, he's out. So
Mhm.
you could easily probably just spiderweb him to the floor and probably wouldn't be able to do much. He does have a weapon of chainsaw scissors. It's like a
Mhm.
big blade that has a chainsaw on one side, and he's like,
That's a Monster Hunter weapon. I think
That's
That's
pretty,
what
hey,
I was
he came most equipped for this fight.
Yes.
Let's be clear.
he might get a leg off or two, but I think
yeah, it's-
think eventually he would probably get.
I feel like it's like Nursilla is like so fast as to, like it's fast for a 30-foot tall spider. It can basically like jump around in the air. I honestly don't know. Because like it's the regeneration is the tough part because Nursilla essentially like paralysis, poison, and then like war of attrition you out by like stabbing you
Yeah,
with its leg.
and like I
whatever.
said, the regeneration does take time. It's not instant,
right.
and that 10 seconds or even the 3 seconds for a pin would be enough. Like I said, he might get some offense and chop a leg off or two with the
Can you
scissors.
do like critical damage to him, like a blow to the head or the heart, or is that essentially like
no,
a normal situation?
that'll regen. Like I said, he got cut in half and came back, and then earlier in the game he basically just shoots himself in the head, and he comes back like 10 seconds later.
So yeah, this is a
Oh,
so this is a matter of like ring out situation, like how the countdown works and how fast the regeneration works.
Yeah,
Okay, so here's the question: for something that would do damage over time, like poison, how would that work against that?
I don't really think that would matter because there is a point in the game where he's literally on fire and he's just still.
Wow.
he just
What?
doesn't.
Oh,
care.
okay.
he's immune to fire.
Wow.
He's got the Monster Hunter weapon and the counters.
But
Yeah,
he's got to
I
be
think-
set on fire first. I mean, he could just dump some gasoline on
In-
himself.
He
In the-
sets
Give him a big-
himself on fire.
In the
Big bear
battle,
hug.
in the battle of attrition, I think Jack wins this
Mhm.
because he will be able to outlast Nursilla in terms of pure stamina for the most part.
I'm willing to accept that.
Yeah, regeneration's weird with Monster Hunter because it's actually a main mechanic in Monster Hunter where the damage dealt to the monster stays and it can actually make them weaker. Like if
Yeah.
you
Oh.
if you target like
Yeah,
a
you.
Raffian's like tail or whatever, Venom
Mm.
will poison you. I think it is.
Yeah, Venom
yeah.
won't poison you,
Mhm.
and it won't have a tail attack.
No, exactly.
Mhm.
So all the damage on Ursula will stay while Jack can just regenerate. You know?
Mhm. Nursilla is basically just a giant animal, essentially.
Yeah,
And I think against like a hive mind that can control humans and like the Enderman, I think he works, but against opponents that it can't break or like get its weaknesses, I don't think it wins. So I'll take 2 wins, 2 losses.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
take that.
I think
Respectable.
2-2 is a
2-2 is a good-
respectable,
2-2 is a good
like
record.
KD
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is all of Nursilla's rounds out. Who
Yeah.
wants to go next?
All right, who wants to defend?
I think we gotta go Dracula next.
Yeah, I'll take the defense.
Yeah.
Square up. Who wants some?
So we'll go with the same
Who
order.
wants
here.
to fight
My-
Dracula?
So, Mr. Enderman, how do you think you fare against Dracula for the next
So-
round?
Well, I can reach 2 meters. You know,
That's
that's
pretty good.
that's the
2
one
meters
thing
is pretty good.
that I've got
Not bad.
going. Dracula can actually teleport too. at least in the games, it's like 2 locations. You can teleport from like the left side of the screen to the right.
You ever seen that scene
We
in
make
Bleach?
friends.
You ever seen that scene in Bleach where they're just teleporting behind each other constantly?
Yeah,
That's their entire
you
fight.
can definitely be like that.
Okay, we need that animated for the episode.
Absolutely.
I know Dracula has like a bunch of like ranged attacks, but I actually don't remember too many of his like his physical attacks. I know he has them in the games, but I just can't remember like any of them off the top of my head. Do you know them by chance?
I'm looking at him. Looking at the wiki. It looks like his physical attacks that he's got are summoning underlings to do his bidding. Whatever physical weapon he happens to have on him at the time, and the vampire bite.
Well, let's be real. In addition, as a vampire, he's got superhuman strength. That's a lower thing in the Castlevania series.
Yeah, but like the Enderman can lift
1.2 tons.
Yeah, it can lift 2 pounds compared to.
Wait, I'm sorry, tons?
It is tons. 1.2.
It's tons?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole
No, it's
different
1.2 to
ballgame.
1.4.
Okay.
That's a whole different thing.
Spinning them.
It is.
Okay. And he comes off the top rope.
Oh my god.
I'm looking at the Enderman list. To me, it is genuinely a matter of like, can the Enderman get within 2 meters and just like crush Dracula's skull?
Yeah, for
Because
real.
it's over.
Mhm.
At that point, it's over.
And like this is like modern day Enderman before he could like lift any block in the games. Then you're dealing with like a cubic meter of gold.
Oh
Oh
my
I don't
my
even know what
God.
that is.
He's
Yeah.
gonna pick up the ring.
He's
He's going to grab a cubic ton of a steel chair.
like when we were first when we were first introduced, they could like pick up bedrock. They could like defy the reality and like pick up something that no other being could pick up. But that's
And
just
you
not
know,
fun at
You
that
know,
point. So
I
just-
I want to defer to the rest of the group because
Yeah.
I think it's the other side of the coin is that you stated in your list Enderman has relatively low.
yeah,
durability.
very very low.
I think if
durability.
Dracula gets 1 or 2 hits on Enderman,
It's absolutely
Yeah.
it's over.
yeah, it just
So
matters if
it's-
it's physical.
It's Dracula and Enderman teleporting around the ring,
Yeah.
yeah.
trying to get close to the other, but not letting the other get too close to them.
And here comes Enderman. And here comes Enderman with 1,000 steel chairs.
So I'm gonna turn it over to you. Who are you voting?
Yeah.
The thing is, I think the biggest thing is in comparison to strength and what damage they can do with each other. Because Dracula has the edge on that, and even though it does take like a lucky blow, so to speak, I think that lucky blow would be enough to settle the match.
It's a very tough one because Dracula only needs one. They both really only need one good hit against the other.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like Dracula's ranged kit is basically useless. So he basically has to rely on his underlings and transforming into a demon and basically grabbing Enderman like that one meme with the hamster.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one good hit from like a physical attack.
They're very
definitely
similar
down.
when you think about it.
Yeah,
They have a
honestly.
lot of similarities.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So
That's funny.
it's decision time. Who's winning the match?
I gotta
Definitely
pick
for
Dracula.
Dracula. Yeah.
I gotta pick
Yeah.
Dracula.
Okay.
Enderman's also just like not smart. Like you can put a pumpkin on your head and he like doesn't understand that you're looking at him. And Dracula at least like he's been alive for like what 1,000 years
Yeah.
or something. He's got the battle intelligence, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's got the vampire intelligence.
Yeah.
I'll stand behind the Enderman even though I won't.
Thank you.
I believe that by the time where everything is said and done, the Enderman is walking out with at least one.
Yeah, at
win
least
on its
one.
belt.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that it happens.
I believe in the Enderman. Let's
believe in
go.
the Enderman.
All right.
All right,
so
so that's 1 for Dracula.
All
then.
right.
no, it's 2.
All right. I'm up 2-0 and I've got 2 to go. Who wants some?
This is an odd one. For Ruvik, because I have to ask, like, does Dracula have? Would you consider like a strong willpower or like mental resistance / being unable to be affected?
I don't know if I would say unable to be affected. I would argue a strong mental resistance because he is very persuasive to man and
Right.
beast.
Right. So with that strong willpower, you're not completely immune to my
Mhm.
powers. However, honestly, God, I can't really fight anymore because this guy could also use fire.
Yep.
True.
I think that yeah,
That's-
True.
and
That's
it's
kinda
I'm
stuff.
serious. It's the character's psychological fear to where he will withdraw, flee in terror, or he's burned and retreats into the stem system. It'd be a lot different if it wasn't for the fire. In which case, it would be just be a one-on-one brawl fest for the most part, with Dracula and Ruvik just throwing hands at each other.
One-on-one gaslighting fight.
So here my question about Ruvik is the trauma response like debilitating, or is it just like a throws him off his game?
It's debilitating.
Okay,
'Cause
it's like a
he
it's
lo-
like a Gus
so,
Fring bell ringing scenario.
His only favorite person, so to say, was his sister. His sister died in the fire,
Okay.
and he himself got horrible burns.
Dracula lets off one fire spell and
He's done.
he's gone.
He's gone. And like I said, it's one of those situations where he retreats into the stem system, and you have to wait for a respawn timer. Again, because of that fire ability, you do end up winning this fight as Dracula.
I feel like that's open and shut,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
3-0.
3-0. All right.
All right. Time to fight. It's
It's time
Dracula
for
versus
Jack
a really
Baker.
strong dude.
All
A
right.
really strong dude with a
It's
monster.
time for
weapon.
Really, really, really important question before we have this conversation. Does Jack Baker have any religious affiliation?
Isn't he a cannibal? I don't think they do.
I believe they do probably eat people. I mean,
That doesn't mean he can't be a Christian.
they live in the swamps in Louisiana. That down south, they are very,
That's a
pretty
Baptist
religious.
community.
Let's
That's a-
look this up on Google.
we got to do a little
Is
because
Jack
like if
Baker religious?
if there is a chance that his massive like chainsaw scissors have been blessed at any point in time, the match is over.
I feel like that's kind of a cursed image.
This
Just
is
seeing the hand of God bless this sod's chainsaw wizard
That's an AI generated image if I've ever seen it.
for real.
This is the closest thing to a Belmont that is in the ring, so I think
That's true.
if anybody's gonna take Dracula down, it's gonna be him.
It might be.
Okay, according to Google AI overview,
Okay, thank God.
Jack Baker is not religious.
What about the rest of his family, though?
Can he tag anybody in?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I would assume if Jack is not, the rest of the family is probably
I mean,
not.
that's fair.
I said down south they might be a little religious down there, more so. But
Yeah.
according to Google, you can't
But-
argue with that.
I think before this is my last match that I'm defending Dracula for. So I'm gonna play my ace in the hole just to drop it here, which is the power of dominance. I'd like to do a reading from the CastlevaniaWiki.fandom.com.
Let's go.
Dracula's primary ability allows him to absorb defeated monsters' souls and enslave them. Dracula can fully utilize this ability with infinite power from the stream of chaos he commands.
I'm sorry. What?
All I'm saying is that he's 3-0. All I'm saying is that he's 3-0.
Dracula Supreme Overlord has activated.
All,
He now has a plus 150% power in his attack.
all that I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that one out there. Are there refs? Do we have refs in the ring? Does that count fighting death fighting
Ref,
dirty?
does that count? The thing is too is like Jack's regenerative ability.
Mhm.
Like,
So yeah, like a Dracula bite wouldn't really do anything to him.
Yeah.
and neither would his fire spells, according to you.
Mhm.
But Dracula is also stupid smart.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
good
Jack
point.
is just some, like I said, he's from the swamps down in Louisiana. No offense to Jack, but he's probably not the brightest.
I have a question. So it's been a bit since I played Resident Evil 7, but you fight Jack twice, right? Or technically 3 times. Like he has a human form and then he mutates.
I believe it's 3 because there's the first fight in the garage,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the second fight where he gets those big scissors.
Yep.
I thought it's also been a while since I've
Yeah.
played. Give me several seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Because I was going to ask if does he mutate based on like adaptation, or is it because he like loses control on his abilities?
Huh?
If that makes sense. Like,
You're telling me this guy has a second form even further beyond?
like
I mean,
you fight him in a big monster form too, and you have to like attack his eyes on his body. I
Oh
think.
God!
Because if he like adapted to getting like cut in half or whatever, like
He
might
becomes a cryptid at spoilers for
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7. He becomes a cryptid at the end of the game.
yeah.
Yeah, in the
Oh.
DLC, he turns into like a swamp creature.
Yeah,
Jack.
yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. But
Well,
but then he's again spoilers. Then he's killed by his brother.
Mhm.
Dang, this is.
I think
kinda
Dracula
difficult.
sees a similarly invulnerable creature of the night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, attempts to seduce him into joining his dark army. I think that's how this match
Mhm.
shakes
I
out.
I
I would
honestly
say
think
Jack
that's how it
is
goes.
just a man, so he would be susceptible to
So,
mental.
Oh, so
All right,
he would
wait.
be
Okay.
susceptible.
so
Take notes.
I was
Alright,
gonna
so-
say I'm already
He's probably my only victory because I don't think this guy has a brain.
Oh, yeah.
honestly, I think this is no contest because neither of the
I think this, yeah, I would argue that this could be a draw.
because it's just like Dracula just goes, "You're cool. You want to join my army?"
Yeah, this might end up being a draw situation given Jack's regenerative abilities, as you said.
Mhm.
I'm down to call this one
So-
a draw.
So
Yeah.
then how does this work? Do we both get a win, or do we
I'd-
both get a loss, or do we just?
The power of friendship makes it both a win, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say let's start a
think-
third column of draw, but the idea of us each winning here is funny.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Alright.
I'm down for that. So that puts you at 4. I guess 4. Or I get 3-1-0. Or we'll just call it
Yeah.
4, and then that puts me
Mhm.
at 2.
All right. So who's next then?
That's me. I only have 2 combatants left to defend against. The first is the Enderman,
Yep.
which unfortunately, no matter what I do, I don't think the Enderman has a human brain to take advantage
Yeah.
of.
I'm going to say wherever the STEM system is located in the premises of the stadium, the Enderman could just teleport
That's
there
what I
and
was
pick it up.
thinking.
It's in the
The
back.
Enderman could just teleport there and pick it up.
Yeah, pick it
It's
up.
it needs an entire own separate room. You only just need to smash my brain in. That's it.
Yeah.
I think if anybody's going to be able to get to the brain and like cut it off at the source, it's gonna be the Enderman.
No, exactly.
Somebody with
yeah.
teleportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think too. I'm like, is there any combination of blocks
Like,
that
if you-
Enderman could pick up to create fire? But I don't
No,
think
one of the
so.
biggest weaknesses so far
Mhm.
is that you need to be human to have
Yeah.
brainwaves to do so. And realistically speaking, it sends you to another dimension / reality, if you will. But so far, no one really got
Yeah.
that.
And I think
And everyone has fire.
Yeah, and I think
So-
lore-wise, the Enderman are like traveling between dimensions.
Yeah, you're
right?
already traveling.
Yeah.
He could go
dimensions.
into the stem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think that's Enderman's
You can
first.
go-
I think that's an Enderman W.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
my
it's
opinion.
It's an Enderman W for sure.
Wow, I'm so happy.
Now- I told you it's one. But then against Jack, I do have the
I
advantage
do
because he's human.
believe. Yeah,
I could make
might win
Jack
this.
that cryptid with the snap of my fingers.
no, exactly.
Because like I said, he is just a dude who just has mold powers to regenerate and super
Yeah.
strength. But if you can
Well, he-
have mind
He
control,
could be
you
my
just-
personal bodyguard, like the Atom Smasher
Yeah.
guy.
the big scissors.
Well, it's even how the game started. RE7 started because her minds were taken over by Evelyn. You know, the
And there we go.
yeah, but
like
thing created by the Umbrella. I can't remember if we're still behind it. We're always behind.
yeah.
it, but-
So I would win against Jack.
I believe,
and
I
that's
believe-
my only dub I have.
I guess,
I'm
yeah, I
one
guess
I'm 1-4.
some research. I was gonna say a weakness like that, where it's like, oh, we didn't realize that the rest of everyone would be picking things that are not human.
You know what the worst part is? I was the first one to update the list, so I didn't even see what you guys brought until I looked at it earlier. Well, I shouldn't say that. I knew he was bringing Dracula, but like Dracula is one of those interesting characters. But then like I also completely forgot the fact he has fire spells,
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact I watched Castlevania like 2 weeks ago. But and then everyone else brings something that's non-human. It's like
From your description, Bo, he sounded so OP. You're like,
Yeah,
he's
I know,
got
I
a
was like,
hive
oh my
mind. He's like
Yeah.
immortal.
And it was just everybody was either non-human or had fire powers or
Yeah.
both. All right.
but-
We have
Is
one
It's
match
time for
left?
the final match. Enderman versus Jack
Oh
Baker.
yeah, I was like, wait a minute, we have one more.
So, does Jack Baker have any ranged attacks?
No, like I said, he is just a dude, and like those big scissors are maybe like, maybe 3 or 4 feet long when he could chop, but
Yeah, those are like 2 iron
it
swords.
is literally like a chainsaw on one side and then like a big blade, and he just
Okay, so
scissors.
he has a weapon that could reasonably defeat an Enderman.
Oh,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, those are like 2 iron
especially
swords
against-
glued to each other.
Yeah, especially with regenerative powers too that you
Mhm.
have. The Enderman is not going to be able to out
The only thing is that Jack is, like I said, he's slow. He's just a guy, and he's a big guy.
Mhm.
So I mean, you probably could just keep teleporting behind, hit, teleport, hit, and just.
Man.
But
Yeah.
Here-
I don't know if it would do enough.
Here's my thought. Does Jack look the Enderman in the eyes? Because I think that changes the entire match.
I believe I would say he would.
Okay.
Because in the game, there's multiple times where Jack like grabs Ethan and he's like talking right to his face.
Then
Like,
I-
we're gonna die.
I don't know. This is tough.
Yeah, it's the healing factor.
I
I
think
feel
it's
like
the
I would
healing
give the
factor.
edge to the Enderman, but the healing factor, I don't know
Mhm.
what the Enderman could do.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
I feel like you could keep getting hits, but I don't know if it would be enough
Yeah,
to-
exactly.
He
to put it over.
is able to lift 1.25
True,
tons.
if he got
So it's
Multiple
entirely
steel chairs.
it's entirely possible that he teleports behind Jack and crushes him like a soda
he
can.
just picks him up and drops him.
Like on the
It's-
list of blocks I can pick up, do any of these help me? We got mushrooms, we have
That-
dirt, coarse dirt, clay, and mycelium. Those are the ones I remember. Or
I think-
any of those.
I think stone and cobblestone, right?
He can't pick them up.
You can't pick them up.
He used
to,
apparently,
yeah.
apparently those blocks are heavier than 2 tons.
Yeah, the dirt.
Oh my god.
But I would have to give the edge to Jack here simply
Oh,
because
yeah.
of regenerative abilities. The
Yeah.
Enderman's not going to be able to out damage him.
Once again, it comes down to endurance, and
Oh,
think,
100%.
It's,
I think Jack's walking away with it.
yeah, I really want Enderman to win at least one.
He did.
he
He
did.
won.
He did win.
He did
win.
He won against
Enderman
me.
is
Oh,
on the
yeah.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it is close, like I said, but it's just again, yeah, it's the
It's so funny how human
endurance.
regenerative powers is done better than the guy who controls realities.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I didn't think it would be that big a deal.
And
'cause
also,
thought,
I think half. I mean, yes, but like to control reality and control people's minds. Half of us are not smart enough to be controlled.
Or human.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, essentially.
The other and 2 of you wield fire. And it's a big thing apparently.
okay, so,
So-
we are saying.
So what's the results?
I'm voting. I think Jack
Okay.
takes it.
Yeah, Jack
me
takes
too.
it.
I
So,
think Jack takes it.
Copen, our ref, what are our final results?
Final results.
in 4th place, tied for 4th place, we have Ruvik and Enderman with 1 win each.
Did our best.
Mhm.
In 3rd place, we have Nursella with 2 wins.
All right, I'll take that.
And 2nd place is Jack Baker with 3, and the winner is Dracula with
Yeah.
4 wins.
Wow.
How poetically fitting.
I
That
didn't-
Dracula wins the Halloween episode.
I thought he was gonna lose. I'm gonna be really honest. I thought I was just picking him to be interesting.
Mhm.
I thought he was gonna like maybe take one and
And
then
also
get
most-
crushed by the 20-foot spider.
No,
to be fair, it was close with Nursilla.
That's
it
true.
was close.
That
Yes.
I
Yep.
really only like edged it out by a matter of inches in
Mhm.
most of his matches.
Specifically by like the weakness of fire.
Yeah.
At least in Nursilla's case.
So if we've learned anything today, dear viewer, the moral of the story is if you're being chased by any monster, carry a lighter with you. It's gonna in like 75% of your cases, it will solve all of your problems.
Absolutely.
Some lighter and a can of hairspray. That'll.
True.
I think this is a fun episode. I like.
Yeah,
I like.
yeah,
the-
I really
I have to
enjoyed
agree.
that.
I like
Yep.
that. Well, when you next hear from us, we're going to be donning our tinfoil hats to discuss video game rumors.
I'm telling you, Polybius really existed.
So, until then, for all of us here at Double Jump Gaming News, I've been Carter Welshly, and I hope you have a great day.